I am sitting on a cold park bench as I write this, my body aching, my hands shaking, trying to stay awake because sleep feels unsafe out here. 8 months pregnant, homeless, and still replaying the sounds of my own front door closing behind me. This is not how I imagined my life would look, and yet tonight it feels like the only reality I have left. I keep asking myself how things reached this point, how a marriage that was supposed to protect me became the place I needed protection from. I was married in February of 2025. Not by choice in the way people like to imagine choice, but through an arrangement my father believed was best for me. My mother passed away when I was 6, and since then my life has always been shaped by other people's decisions, especially because I am severely disabled. I was born with a deformity that left my legs and toes crooked, making it painful and difficult to stand or walk. Independence has never been simple for me, and speaking up for myself has always felt like climbing a wall with no grip. The man I married was a Pakistani man who had come to this country as my carer. On paper, it made sense to my family, someone to look after me, someone stable. I wanted to believe it too. The very first night of our nikah shattered that belief. I woke up frightened and confused, crying and trying to push him away, only to be told that I had no right to refuse him. That it was his right as my husband. I remember lying there afterward, staring at the ceiling, my mind silent in a way that only happens when something inside you breaks and doesn't yet know how to scream. I told myself maybe this was normal. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe this was just how marriage worked and I needed to adjust. 2 weeks later, the violence became impossible to excuse. My legs were in pain that day, the kind of pain that seeps into your bones, and I couldn't prepare food as quickly as he expected. That was the first time he hit me openly, beating me with a brush while shouting about how useless I was. I remember apologizing over and over, not because I believed I was wrong, but because I knew apologies sometimes shorten the anger. After that, the abuse became routine, almost predictable in its unpredictability. Sleeping in too long, making myself tea, going to medical appointments and being out longer than he liked. Any small action could turn into punishment. The nights were the worst. I won't go into detail, but the assaults continued, leaving me injured and bleeding, leaving me afraid of my own bed. By April or May, I discovered I was pregnant. I remember holding the test in my hands, feeling a strange mix of fear and fragile hope. For a brief moment, I wondered if this would change him. It didn't. He used the pregnancy to trap me, to threaten me, to remind me that leaving would make me dishonorable, alone, and shamed. When I begged him to either let me go or find another. Why, if he hated me so much, he mocked my disabilities, laughed when I struggled to do basic things, and reminded me how powerless I was. Tonight was the breaking point. I had fallen asleep early, exhausted from pregnancy and the constant strain of living on edge. I woke to pain and terror. He kneed me in the stomach, and the shock made my body react in ways I couldn't control. That only made him angrier. Remember the floor, the sound of my head hitting something hard? It's the way my spine burned, the feeling of my hair being pulled as I was dragged. My mind kept repeating one thought over and over. Protect the baby. Survive this moment. Eventually, he opened the door and threw me outside as if I were something broken he no longer wanted in his house. Now I am here, cold, hungry, pregnant, disabled, alone. The streetlights feel too bright and too indifferent at the same time. I keep looking at my phone, wondering who I could call, wondering if anyone would believe me, wondering if going back would at least mean a roof over my head. My body hurts, but what hurts more is the confusion. The part of me that has been trained to endure keeps whispering that maybe I should return, that maybe this is still safer than the unknown. Another part of me, quieter but stubborn, knows that something fundamental has already been crossed. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't know where I will sleep tonight, or how I will protect my unborn child when I can barely protect myself. All I know is that I am sitting here questioning whether survival means going back to the place that broke me, or stepping into a future that terrifies me because I have no map for it. If you were in my position, standing at the edge of what? And what you fear, what would you choose? And how do you find the strength to walk away when staying feels like the only option left?